Well, without further ado, we have our featured business of the week. Our featured business is Anchor Coffee, and I have Kyle Bondy on the line. Hi, Kyle. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. How are you doing today? Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Do you have Super Bowl plans?
You know what? I'm pretty boring. I'm over the big parties and stuff, so we're just going to watch it at home. We were talking about making some chicken wings and just laying low tonight, so nothing exciting.
Perfect. That's not boring. That's just middle age, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm only
so
in my
tell us a little bit about Anchor Coffee. How'd you get started?
Yeah. So honestly, way back in the day, my wife and I, whenever we were dating, we're talking like, oh man, we've been together, I think 16 years now. So going way back when we were just dating, we would always hang out at coffee shops and stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of was one of those things that we both had in common, even growing up. We've known each other since grade school, actually, but started dating after high school. And we always had this kind of common dream of like, how cool would it be to open a cafe one day? And we found ourselves, you know, there's great cafes and stuff in our city now, but back in the day, we found ourselves going to Detroit a lot on the weekends to get coffee when we worked other jobs. And we just had this dream of, hey, what if we could do something like this? And honestly, it seemed like a far-fetched thing. We didn't have any money saved up. We didn't really have much of a plan or anything, but we just thought this would be really cool. And we just started with literally a folding table at the farmer's market in a little kind of pup tent, and we would just bring baked goods and coffee and lemonade and stuff down there, and just pretty much right off the bat, we kept selling out and got to the point where we're like, okay, we need a space to be able to do this. We were renting a cafe kitchen at the time just to be able to prepare the baked goods from a cafe that my wife was managing at the time. And kind of next thing you know, the people that own that location, which ended up being our Huron Church location, we're looking to get out of the industry. And next thing you know, we kind of fell into this opportunity, and it was kind of crazy actually how we got started. We couldn't get a business loan or anything. We had just purchased our first home, and we were working other jobs at the time, and we had a meeting at a bank, and the person basically laughed in our face, and we were walking out of the bank, and one of the financial advisors overheard the situation and was like, hey, can you come in here? I want to talk to you. And basically gave us an under-the-table loan and was like, hey, aren't you the people that wanted that home renovation credit? And we're like, sorry? And the lady just kind of winked at us and was like, you wanted to renovate your home, right? You're applying for that loan. And then she mentioned the exact amount that we had looked to try and get a business loan. She had kind of overheard what was happening. And so thanks to this random stranger at the bank, they gave us a home renovations loan, which we took out to buy some used crappy equipment. And now 10 years later, here we are.
Awesome. What a great story. So, Kyle, tell me, what sets you apart from the competition? You'd mentioned there's some great coffee shops for sure. For sure. What is it that makes you stand out? Yeah, honestly,
I think that there's a bunch of really great businesses in our industry in the city. The food is very important to us. The coffee is very important to us, but our vision has actually never been about that. It's always been like a community focus. And I know a lot of people say that, but genuinely, I care a lot more about the conversations had in the cafe than I do the product. And it's not to say we bring in bad products. We bring in the best quality stuff we can, but that's always comes second. So the idea was like to create a place people feel comfortable, kind of, I don't know, pulling from, I don't know if you guys know much about Schultz, the gentleman that started Starbucks, but his vision was, creating the third space, he always called it. So, everyone has a place that they spend most of their time, whether that be work or school or something, and then they've got their home. And the goal was that space that you could escape between those two places, whether you're having a bad day and you need to get out, or you're having a good day and you want to celebrate and just get out. That was kind of the vision.
I love that. That's great. So from your perspective, what's the hardest part of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, boy. I mean, we've only been doing this a decade now. It's been almost exactly 10 years since we started at the market, 9 years since we opened the first brick and mortar. And I feel like that answer changes probably every year, especially after the pandemic. It's a weird thing to say, but we've been talking recently, and we were kind of grateful for the pandemic because we had opened 4 locations over about a 7 or 8 year period, and we kind of got in this groove, which is good. We figured out the way that things worked but all of a sudden when COVID hit, nothing worked the same. And so in some strange way, it was it was a good challenge. It forced us to get uncomfortable, and I think letting that light through the cracks, we saw a lot of areas we needed to work on. So probably the most challenging thing, I think, for me, and I can't speak for Rachel, my wife, or our business partner, Ryan, but I would say it's probably continually going back to the drawing board without getting discouraged. You have to be willing to, think on your feet, constantly make decisions pretty quickly. Even just at our Walkerville location now, we see between 200 and 300 people walk through the doors on an average day, 7 days a week. So there's always things that come up, but I think just it's that constantly being willing to go back to the drawing board, remind yourself that you don't know everything. Just because you've been doing this a while doesn't mean that, one of your newer employees could bring something to the table that is just as valuable as any piece of information you feel you've learned. So I think for me, it's just holding on to things very loosely and understanding that although we have a way of doing things, things change very quickly. So I think that's kind of been the biggest growing pain for me because I like control. I like to be doing everything. So
yeah, that's a great leadership quality. I love that. So I have one more magic wand question for you.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about your business, what would it be?
Oh man, like going back or right now?
Anything you choose. I'll let you be the driver of this
what?
one.
I would say we get a lot of people, and I'm not bragging, but we're very grateful to see a lot of people every day. But probably the most common thing we hear is, "I wish you had more seating." And I wish we were able to have that without sacrificing the community environment that a smaller space kind of provides. None of us really like big open spaces. We kind of like the intimacy of our small space. However, I wish we could effectively seat more people because that seems to be the biggest thing is the turnover. You don't want to rush people out. However, you have to make space. So I think that's probably currently.
All right, something to think
answer.
about, I guess, then. So,
Yeah.
Kyle, if people want to get a hold of you, or maybe not get a hold of you, but to check out more about your the Anchor Coffee House, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, all of our social media is still run by us, so Facebook, Instagram, that stuff through our website. You can find all of our information as far as our location for the cafe, phone numbers, emails, all that stuff. And just walking into, we're open 7 days a week from 9 until 3 p.m.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thanks for joining us as well. We love to host local business. So if you or someone you know runs a business locally and you think they would like to be featured, or if you would like to be featured, please reach out to us. You can email Dan directly, dan@dangemis.com, or you can message myself, Joyce at dangemis.com. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you. We are at a time. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks in studio for taking such great care of the shows for me this weekend. Really appreciate it. Congrats to Luann Tedesco, who won the $50 gift card for the Richmond Popcorn Company today. Mara, thanks for spending time with me this afternoon.
Of
It's
course.
been awesome to see you.
Yes.
And if you have any questions about anything you've heard on the show, please reach out. You can reach us 7 days a week, 519-566-5565, or you can find us online at dangemis.com. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. Enjoy, whether you're watching the game, the halftime show, or just the commercials. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the sunshine. Until next week, goodbye.